So excited for the upcoming release of the newest Zoneheads 35 beer. It's Zoneheads 35 white label. And here to help me properly amp you up about it is the brewmaster himself, beer savant, Joe Hamm from Hourglass Brewing. And before we dive in, let me remind all of you, April 12th, Friday, April 12th, that's the beer release date. And we've got a Magic Sixers watch party that night, the final road game of the season. Playoff seeding seems to be changing on a daily basis, so who knows what will be up for grabs when we get to that point. How you doing, Joe? It's been too long since I've seen your face.
Man, it's been good. Staying busy, dude. It's been a crazy start to the year, but it's been good.
So what's been going on at the breweries? Of course, I want to talk about the beer, but I saw one of our listeners had shared a redesign of the Longwood location. Is this real news? Are you guys switching stuff up?
So I'm in one of our newly redone spaces. It's used to be a barrel room. We still got some barrels in here, but we turned it into a nice little lounge area. We got a couple couches in here. Nice little comfy space to kind of get away from the. Sometimes it can get a little loud out there. Not everybody's into that. So give you a little quieter space to get like 10, 12 people in here, or the kids, whatnot. You know what I mean? Just a nice little separate space. And we are going to very soon be changing up the tap room. We've actually had all the owners together recently, which is rare when you get all three of them together and they're all brainstorming. So we've got a lot of things coming down the line in terms of redesigning this place. And Brett has even told me that he'll be getting down to District soon, and we're going to be doing some work down there. So look out for hopefully some fun new changes.
I like the idea of that. Three owners that don't often come together. It's like almost sounds like an episode of the Justice League. You know?
Yeah, right. Yes, when forces combine.
That's it. Our powers combined. So what kind of, if we could harken back to December for a moment, what kind of feedback did you get on the original Zoneheads 35, the black can with the stripes? That was a nice hoppy IPA. I enjoyed that. I thought I was going to stretch that out a lot longer than I did with the amount that I grabbed from you guys, but I enjoyed it so much that I kind of rifled through it. But you tell me, what did you end up hearing from people on that?
The response was great. We couldn't keep the cans on the shelves at District. We had only a couple of 4-packs left over the next day, and they were gone pretty much immediately. Here at Longwood, we had a couple left over through that weekend into Monday, and then on draft, I mean, we always blow through IPAs, and that was no different in terms of just being a crushable single IPA that is just very approachable. It wasn't over the top bitter. It's not like you're looking at a West Coast or anything like that. It's not heavy. It wasn't super hazy. It was just, to me, it was the perfect like middle ground for what we were looking for. The type of IPA you're going to drink when you watch a sporting event. You know what I mean? You don't want to get super full or super hammered right away. And that to me, it landed on all those notes, and the response was great. I mean, changing it up now and doing the new one as a dry hop lager, I think it's going to be the same type of thing. Super crushable. You're going to get a little bit of hops in there, but it's going to have a really nice crispy finish to it. Real clean too. The hops aren't going to linger super long. I think for me, this is also just, it's another home run, to use another sporting analogy.
You can never overuse analogies, and definitely not sports analogies on this show. So you're in a safe place there in that regard. Our listeners are so awesome and so loyal. I'm not everybody enjoys IPAs, but I had a few people that reached out and they bought the beer just because they wanted to support the show and they wanted to support you guys. And they're like, I actually really like this. So you had the IPA drinkers. I knew they were going to like it once I took that first sip during that release a couple of months ago. But even the non-IPA, I have people that only drink fruity cocktails that enjoyed this thing. So
awesome.
I have not tried the new one yet. And have you had a chance to sip on this one? Could you give us a sneak peek?
I still have not. I have heard the brewer's description of it. They are very happy with it. Lagers they're tricky, man. They take time, and it seems like, to a lot of people, it seems like a simple beer because it's just a clean pretty straightforward taste, but it's one of the more complicated brews out there, and they are super proud of what they've come up with. The description to me was just like I explained, it's going to be very lightly hopped, enough to where it'll be there, but it won't linger. It's going to have a nice, crispy, easy finish to it. And I honestly believe, like, again, kind of like how the Black Label introduced people who might not be into IPAs or the hoppiness, this could do that same thing, where it's a nice introductory, hey, you might not like a lot of hops, but this is a good way to ease into that realm. Because I know for me, I'm also not a huge hop head, but these beers, I mean, that's just, it makes sense. It goes well, especially like I said, with sporting events. You want something that's crushable, that's going to taste good, and that's not going to, like I said, leave a lot of lingering flavors on your palate. So feel like,
because this isn't technically an IPA, right? This is
No.
more this is a hoppy lager, is the way
This is.
that our guy Shane explained it to me.
Yep, it'll be a hoppy lager, and it'll be a variation of. We took one of our bases and we kind of twisted it a little bit, just like we did with Zone Heads, and it's like we do with a lot of things. But you twist it, you add a few hops, you add a few different hops combinations that we may not have ever done before. We've not really done a lot of dry hop lagers before, and every time we do, they turn out amazing. You know, you can only have so much hoppy stuff on at one time, but right now we do need to fill out that portion of the menu, and this fits in so well. And of course the label, like, I think the label on top of that just like sells it. I mean, it's ridiculous how nice that white one looks. I almost kind of wish we would have did that one first now, but man, is it cool to see that. And the hype was already there. I work down at District now every Thursday, and I see these people coming in. And last night we had 2 more people asking, "You guys gonna have it next week?" And I was like, "For sure. It's all rolling now, man. It'll be on the truck next week. We'll be good to go." So it's gonna be, man, I can't wait. I'm so happy that the Magic are good, and also
that helps a lot.
Thank you to everybody that came out in December. I want to make sure we say that. Shane and everybody at Hourglass wanted to make sure we said that December party was amazing. I wish I could have stayed longer. That was a great
Same.
time.
I had a babysitter to pay that night.
Yeah, man, it was. That was a great time, great turnout, and I expect the same thing now with the hype going into the playoffs. We got a great squad, man. I'm super psyched.
Yeah, I mean, that's the cool thing about it too, is that I think this beer would probably do well just because of the quality and the credibility that you guys have in the market and some of what we're able to bring to the table. But the fact that the Magic are in the playoffs, like, people just want to buy Magic stuff, and this, you know, having that sort of emblem on it with the throwback pinstripes. I have so much Magic fever right now, Joe. Last night there was no game on. I was watching the Rockets and the Magic from 1995. It wasn't even the finals. This was just a random regular season game.
I was going to go.
Pinstripes were there. It was like a bunch of Zonehead 35 beers running up and down the court.
That's amazing, dude. That's amazing. I've been watching a little bit of throwback stuff as well. God, I've been seeing some. I just saw something where we just passed T-Mac's. When T-Mac was on our team, our season total, the highest win total was 44 wins, and look at us now. We're already 45. Like, this is great. Like, got a shot at the 2 seed, and I really think we can get there, man. There's nobody in the East other than Boston that I think, and even them to an extent, we've beaten them. So I'm ready to go up against anybody, man. This is going to be fun.
The only things I fear right now in the Eastern Conference are the Boston Celtics, Joel Embiid, and the Miami Heat. Those are the only. The Bucks have looked so beatable to me, but those are the 3 teams that I think the Magic would struggle with. They have a little bit of that little brother complex against Miami. Seems like a lot of teams do. Boston is a freight train. Yes, we have a good record against them. That's not in the playoffs. I think it's a different animal. And Embiid, like, I don't know that we have an answer for that guy on the Magic roster, but I feel really good. Is there a matchup that you want to see? Like, I have already circled the Knicks. I'm so confident the Magic can beat the Knicks in round 1.
That's the one. That to me is the one, because it took them on their 4th try and 3 trades after they played us. So yeah, I'm gonna go with New York, man, because I do think, and unfortunately they lost Julius Randle. I know he's out for the year now. That sucks. I don't want to see that. I hate seeing that for everybody, but at the same time, I think we do match up well against them. I think our defense alone in all professional sports, man, defense translates into the playoffs in every level. And that's almost what wins you a championship. So not to say we're going to do that this year, but I think that's going to keep us in it. The Knicks play great defense. I'm looking forward to that one. I want it to be the Knicks. That would be, to me, the best. I want that.
just the fact that we're even talking about this as confidently as we are tells you where we're at in the season. Hopefully they're able to come through, but I'm just enjoying the fact that we're having conversations about confidently making it past round one. Now, Joe, before we cut you loose here, you're one of the biggest Bills fans I know. I'd be remiss if I didn't get your thoughts on the big trade. Stephon Diggs dealt to the Houston Texans. The Bills, they got a second-round pick in next year's draft for him. And I think the bigger question mark that I'm sure you're left with is, who's Josh Allen throwing the ball to? So what was your reaction when you saw that trade? Were you surprised by it?
100%. Was I surprised? No. The pieces were kind of there. At least the breadcrumbs, I guess, were there. I think we needed to shake things up. I mean, I hate to say it, but our offense started picking up at the end of the year, and he really wasn't part of that. Gabe Davis struggled the entire year. That wasn't a loss that I knew we were going to lose him, so I don't miss that. I wish we could have kept him. But Stephon Diggs going, I think sucks we didn't get the most out of that extension. But I think in the long run, Bean's got a plan. If we can't get in the trade market a Higgins or Boyd or get a high draft pick for a wide receiver, then this might just be a soft rebuild year. I think it's going to be one of the two. I think either he's got another card to play in terms of...
Don't give up, Joe. As long as you have Josh Allen, you are not rebuilding.
Well, no. And I don't even want... Exactly. That's why I say soft rebuild, because Josh Allen, you'll never be in full rebuild mode with Josh Allen. So, but if we can't swing something for a number one receiver, whether it's trade or one of the top guys in the draft, we could be looking at James Cook being the... James Cook might be catching more passes than Christian McCaffrey next year.
Wow. All right. You just write that down on your fantasy sheet here in April.
Keep an eye on it, man. If we don't, he already was one of the most used running backs last year, and there's no reason to believe it's going to change right now. So, and Khalil Shakir, I think, is going to get deservedly so. He's going to get a lot more targets. He's going to be great. He's not a number one. He's probably not even a number two, but I think he's a good guy to at least start building around. We need more. That's just the bottom line, man. We're not going to be able to compete with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, for instance, if we can't get somebody else in there. So
it's a fair and balanced way to look at that. Friday, April 12th, can't get here soon enough. The release of Zonehead's 35 white label. Joe Hamm, who is part of the tremendous crew over at Hourglass Brewing that has helped us put this all together, our imagination into a beer can, and we get to share that with all of you. Thanks so much, Joe.
Thank you, guys. Go Magic.